Okay, we will talk a little bit on the Western financial system. Now, yen has been falling in value. So what did the Americans do? Americans went into a very unusual situation. They sold euro and they bought yen. So what the Western financial system has realized that the Western financial system has come to some kind of crisis. So if one of the currencies, whether the yen or euro or dollar falls, then others also will fall. So America didn't sell its dollars because dollar is considered to be the reserve fiat currency. They sold euros and they bought yen. That means whatever these people say about the Western financial system, it's in some kind of crisis. Now they didn't want to sell the dollars because that would hurt the dollar, right? So basically these three currencies, even others, it applies to British pound. So they are in crisis, right? They are come to some kind of certain crisis mode, right? I only talked about three currencies, but actually British pound is also there. Now what did the Chinese do? Now there is something called paper gold. Actually I call that gold derivatives. Now I always advise people to buy gold or silver because they are the real currency, but now because of certain manipulations and things like that, gold prices and silver prices have come down. දැන් මං කාටවත් කියන්නේ නැහැ gold රත්තරන් දා රිදී වලට ගිහලා ආයෝජනය කරන්න කියලා මොකද ඒවැ මුදල් මිල අඩු වෙලා තියෙනවා. Now if you take cryptocurrencies, there are something called stable coins. Stable coins are it is tied to the American dollar. Then America has brought legislature. ඒගොල්ලෝ නීති ගෙනල්ලා තිනවා මේ cryptocurrency පැත්තට. ඒ කියන්නේ stable coin based cryptocurrencies also invest in. So that means they are trying to preserve the American dollar and using cryptocurrencies. Now cryptocurrencies means it is not controlled by any government, but there is an element of individual freedom. But if it's tied to the American dollar, that means they are using the back door, knowing that the American dollar is going to be a crisis in the American dollar. They want to use cryptocurrencies to tie it back to the American dollar, right? Now we look at the war fronts. If you take Ukraine used drones to attack, Russian civilian infrastructure, and Russians have changed the level of intensity. They have increased the intensity of attacking Ukraine, and they have attacked Ukraine ports and things like that. Some people say that Ukraine war there will be a collapse of the Ukraine government within 1.5 months or 2 months. There will be a collapse. That means Euro has to change. Euro has to either go into severe crisis, or they have to have some understanding with the Russians, and they have to get cheap energy from Russia. Okay? So this is what Dr. Yanis Varoufakis is trained in financial economics, and he was the finance minister in Greece, as he was thrown out from that post because IMF didn't like him become the Greek finance minister, because Yanis Varoufakis understands economics more than the IMF. Okay, so that means he couldn't have never been the finance minister of Greece. So there will be a crisis in the American Western financial systems. Right now, you can invest in gold or silver because these things can be manipulated. But the Chinese have tried to move into real gold, get out of. They have made certain restrictions on gold derivatives or paper gold, but they are heading for gold. But now, if you take Iran is trying to get rid of all the American bases in West Asia, right? And in Israel, there's political crisis. So Iran is not going to. My understanding is Iran is going to back Israel right now. They are telling. They want in Israel. There's political crisis, and there is also mutiny in their armed ranks. Some soldiers have left the army, right? So the political crisis in Israel is brewing, and what happens to these Western financial systems depend not on Iran. If Iran is on the offensive, earlier Iran was in defensive, but when they attacked this one base in America, they attacked as offensive measure, right? In Jordan they attacked American bases when the Americans put in their planes and things, and then Iran attacked. So Americans were surprised. So that was the Iranians were doing offensive thing. Earlier they used to be defensive. That means when the Americans attack, then they used to attack. But if you take the last 10 days, Iran has changed their military strategy. Now they are on the offensive. That means if you attack the American base first, then if you take, you can do more harm to the American system rather than waiting for America to hit Iran and then Iran to hit. So the American financial system also depends on what is happening on the war front in Ukraine and also in Iran, and especially the West Asian American bases. It all depends on that. So as far as Europe is concerned, they might change their policies. If the Ukraine war front collapses, then Europe might move more towards Russia and trying to isolate America, because mainly these European countries don't trust America because of their policies are not consistent. One day they put more tariffs and things like that. So you have to watch out for what is happening in Europe, especially at the war front in Ukraine. Now again we have to look at how the Iranians have taken the initiative, and we have to see whether Iran has ensuing ceasefire. Iran says, okay, we have this memorandum of misunderstanding of 14 points, and Iran says to America that, okay, you satisfy some of the things here, especially you have to unfreeze the Iranian dollars, Iranian currency, Iranian money, which have been confiscated by America, and take the sanctions off. Some of the sanctions cannot be removed, it had to be removed through the UN. So actually America cannot fulfill some of the conditions but Iran has put forward. It will take a lot of, they have to have some kind of understanding with the Europeans. So anyway, Iran is now taking the initiative. It's not on the defensive. That means it will help the American financial system more. And there is a possibility that Donald Trump could be impeached in November, after the elections. So Donald Trump is fighting for his political survival. And if you take Michigan, there is a Muslim, and the Israel lobby has spent something like $60 million to get him out, but looks like he's going to be in the Senate. So where the Israel lobby spent a lot of money to get rid of Thomas Massey or Bob Massey, and they spent about $30 million. Here they have spent $60 million, and you can see a new front developing in the Democratic Party, where it is becoming anti-genocidal. Certain candidates are really becoming anti-genocidal, and they are fighting against the Israel lobby. So Israel is terrified. So we see many fronts. We see in Europe, you saw what happened to Spain, right? Spain has a colony in tip of Africa, and you had 60,000 Moroccans coming and invading that colony, and that was instigated by. It is said it was instigated by America and Israel. Okay, so there is division within the Western world, and lot of countries or lot of people in the Western world have realized that the nature of genocide happening in West Asia, and some of the politicians in the Western world still denies this so-called genocide happening in West Asia. So there is divisions within Europe and also within America, and you have to watch for what is happening in Michigan. Michigan Senate said whether this Muslim will win against all odds, because if you take the Israel lobby, they are fighting hard against New York mayor, and now they are fighting against this Michigan Senate race, where a Muslim is openly challenging the Israel lobby. Now there was some legislature brought in the American Congress to merge the two armies, the Israel army and European army, and the American armies, and this legislature was passed by tying it to other legislation, other laws. So Thomas Massey, Bob Massey, who is there in the Congress till November, he fought against this legislature, but he failed. But it will be exposed that they are trying to make American military and Israel military one unit. That means that will be the end of the American sovereignty of the American defense forces, and it will be manipulated by Israel. So we have many fronts, but I think the Western financial system is in deep crisis, because mainly they print money, they use quantitative easing to prop up their system, and if you take the middle class in Western countries and America, they are declining, their power is declining. So there will be social unrest also. So we have to watch this, what is going to happen to the American dollar, the yuan, and also the great British pounds and euro, because I think the Western financial system has come to some kind of crisis mode, and you have to watch how they handle all these currencies, because you can't let any of these currencies fall. If one of the Western currencies fall, it will affect all other currencies, and the Americans have realized that. Okay, so lot will depend on Iran, whether they keep attacking the American system, American military system. That means there will be a crisis in diesel fuel, there will be shortage in diesel and kerosene. So that means the economic crisis in the West will aggravate, and it will affect it will affect the Western financial system. So we have to watch out for manipulation in the gold and silver markets. Watch out for what is happening in the currencies. Watch out what America is doing to prop up these currencies. So my understanding is a new financial system will come into being very soon.